Good morning. Well, it's morning to me. It's a good day outside. It's pretty nice. It looks kind of clear, but actually doesn't look clear at all. It looks blue at least. Very cloudy. Likely gonna rain again. In between the rain, we've been doing some chores outside as much as we can. We have these two little rock gardens that we've been getting rid of. They were overgrown with grass. Anyways, if you've been following the vlogs, you know what that's all about. Basically, I started digging up the second one, a lot bigger than I thought it was, but we got a lot of rocks out of there, started filling some potholes, and then it started raining again. So then we had to stop and do some other random chores inside. In the meantime, while I was doing the rocks, Ashley and her friend were doing some raspberry picking. We got this big raspberry bush, patch, whatever you'd call it, that's very disheveled, and we're actually going to chop it down, but they picked some raspberries, and then we had some jam made. Ashley made some jam with the raspberries we picked, so I'm looking forward to that. That should be pretty good. I love homemade jam of any sort, really. Since it's been raining, though, we could only be outside for so long, and we'd go inside, try to do some other random chores. Started cleaning the bathroom and stuff and getting it ready for another coat of paint. There was some stuff that we didn't like on the walls, like some of the flaws. We covered those up, put a doorknob and stuff up on my door, some other random stuff. I was doing a painting and whatnot, but today I am going back to that one job that you may have watched me in a couple other vlogs do. Basically doing the last step today, putting up texture. It's a pretty easy job, but it is messy. So that's on the agenda for today. That's step one, and we'll see what happens after that. I'm not too sure. So on my way to the client's house here, I see this lug nut on the road. I recognize it, so I stop. I'm like, that could be some art, I guess. Something in an art project. But look at this. The stud is sheared off. I don't know how. It may have been cut off, but it looks sheared. Like, look at that. So someone either had loose lugs or something. This happened to me before. I broke 3 out of 5, so I had 2 studs left, and I was like, what the heck is going on? But yeah, hopefully someone doesn't lose a wheel. That could be very dangerous, and that's a big lug nut. This is probably off of a fake off-road rim, or wheel, I guess you would call it. I'm not sure, but I had these on my black truck when I had my black truck before I gave it to Drew, and so I'm assuming they're off of a fake off-road wheel. It's going to become art, so it's good for me, bad for them, unfortunately. When I say fake, I just mean like the off-road wheels that people get just to look nice. They're not really the most functional, strongest off-road type of wheels that people who actually go off-roading use, for the most part. Of course, there's exceptions. I went off-road with the ones I had all the time. I wasn't too precious with them because I mean, whatever. It's just a car, right? Unfortunately, I need that car or truck. Anyways, we're at the basement. Steve's here before me. Usually I'm here before him, but this time he's here before me. It's on the stilts running tape. So I'm gonna quickly explain to you guys what goes on with the tape. So I personally get the cheapest tape you can get because it doesn't stick super well, but it still sticks well enough to hold up the plastic. So you want to run your tape all along the top side, and you're mostly only sticking the top half of it because you're going to slip your plastic underneath. And what this does is obviously masks the walls, which is, when you're doing texture, you don't want to get it on the wall. When you're doing it with a more expensive, more sticky tape, sometimes, or actually a lot of the times, it'll peel off the primer if it's not cured. In our case, it is cured, but I didn't know when we were going to do the texture versus when the priming was done. But that's just something to look out for. You usually want to be within half an hour of putting on to peel it off, so you don't peel off the texture, or peel off the primer. All right, once you got all of the main room plasticed up like this, you leave Steve to finish up the rest, because I have to go get more plastic. I underestimated how much plastic I would need. I had 1.5 rolls, and it seems like that used to get you a little further, but maybe not. Maybe that's just me. So I gotta get some more of that, and some more tape. I got 4 rolls of tape. Seems like there's a bigger hole in the center of the tape roll now. I don't know. It used to be that you could get 2 rolls of tape and it would do the whole thing. And I was like, man, these look a little sparse. I'll get 4 just in case. Use them all up. So I'm gonna head to town quickly, get some more product so that we can spray this out. Steve will actually probably end up spraying out the main room there himself. But hopefully I get back in time to do some of the other stuff so I can show you exactly what goes into it. Just in case. I can't find the painter's plastic. I don't usually go to this store, but it's the closest one. Maybe it's, nope, I was just in that aisle. Gah, I'm gonna have to ask someone. All right, found it, but it's wrapped differently than what I normally get, so I don't know what to take. 100 meters? No, 100 feet. 1,000 square feet by 120 inches. Yeah, this should probably do it. All right, made it back. Put up some tape there. I'm gonna hang the plastic, and Steve is starting to get ready to rumble over in here. So we should be working right behind each other here, which is kind of how you want it to go. One of the downfalls of using the cheap tape is it's not super sticky. I'm holding this up because it started coming off the wall, as it is over there. So he stuck that in the window. We already textured this part. He's gonna texture there while I hold this, and it should be good. You don't want to use too sticky of a tape because then it peels off the primer, but you don't want to go not sticky enough because then it doesn't stick on the wall. Luckily, we're pretty good here. I was in the other room taping up that one, almost done, and he's like, Josh, I need a hand, quickly. And I'm like, ah, damn. I kind of knew exactly what it was. Since this plastic already fell on the ground, I'm going to see if I can reuse that rather than use the new plastic, because this isn't really reusable, so you got to throw it out after you're done. So to save on waste, we'll use this and we'll flip it upside down so that we can retape it. If you're doing apartment buildings and stuff, they usually do reuse the plastic. In this sort of job, it's not very practical to do that, but since it fell down, I may as well try. Success! So this back wall, since you see I got the tape at the bottom, just flipped it upside down. It's hung up, it's good. This plastic here is the same plastic that's on this side, you know? Waste not, want not is an old saying I've heard before. I think it applies. Now just to do the bathroom. You can probably hear Steve scraping the floor. When you're doing this kind of job, you usually don't waste a single minute when you're in the zone. So when one thing stops, you go and do the other one. And then, you know, you leapfrog over each other on the different tasks and the different steps. It's way better when you have a partner doing this kind of stuff, because it's very tedious work, takes forever, and you want to have a good finished product. we're gonna show the client this. Hopefully the rest of it doesn't fall off the wall. Or hopefully he's happy actually. I mean, it should be. It's pretty good texture job. I think splatter is the nicest texture you can get as a standard texture. It's way better than California Knockdown. If I were to do a California Knockdown, we do the same thing, but at about this stage, we would start knocking it down, which is kind of like you just take a big knife and you just flatten it by just wiping it across at a super flat rate. I don't know how to explain it better than that. So then when it's time to take down the plastic, you simply just pull on it and it should just travel along the whole tape. In our case, most of it was already taken down, so we didn't really have to work too hard for it. Client's happy with the amount of texture on the wall, which I kind of figured he would be because I think it looks good. Why won't you just come down? I just tell you guys, oh, you simply just do this, and then it's not even working. Look at this. Usually it's a little heavier than this, and it just pulls down the whole way. Now, we had some issues with the plastic coming off the wall. So we have some texture on the wall where it's not supposed to be, much like it's on my face. So I'm gonna show you how to get rid of that very easily. So you can just take your biggest knife, or any knife really, and it just comes off. When it's setting up, it's very easy to take off. And then after you do that, you just give it a light sand, and it's good. You can also alternatively wipe it off with a wet cloth, but that's messier. This way, you just scrape it, give it a little sand with a pull sander, and it's good. Ready for paint. Alright, done. Packed up all my tools and like all the garbage. Luckily I live pretty close to here, so I'll probably take that to the dump tomorrow or something like that. They're not open today. Well actually it's already 4:30, which is crazy. It took me longer than I thought it would. Well, it's the cleanup, it's the sweeping and scraping and stuff. That takes forever. But anyways, I'm heading home now, and I'm gonna clean up all the tools, put them away, and I should go to the post office because it's Monday. I need to do that. It's mail day. Don't have too many packages to bring out today, so that's good. Them to see me filming them, but they're riding like those little Shetland ponies. That's hilarious. Well, I was able to get gas for the welder. I've been meaning to do that for years. I finished up that job obviously, then went and did some errands, including doing the gas and going to the post office and getting actual gasoline for my truck, and I even washed the truck. Now it's supper time. It's actually well past supper time. It's, well, I mean, it depends on when you have supper, but it's 7:30. So I'm gonna eat supper, and then let's see if I can't get into the temporary studio and work on that painting I got on the easel, which is actually the wall. The morning, we're gonna take Hank for a walk, and it rained pretty hard yesterday, and this is the flower bed, and every time it rains it uncovers more rocks. The other flower bed over there also had more rocks in it, so obviously I didn't take enough care to get all the rocks out, although I never finished this one yet because of all the freaking ants that kept biting me. In fact, I don't know if you can see that, but right there I have an ant bite right on my webbing, and it's a little painful. I've never had a painful ant bite, I don't think, but no matter. Just thought I'd take this handful of rocks that I just dropped and had to re-pick up and throw it in one of the puddles, which is a pothole obviously.
you know, because of neglect. We have been diligent in trying to fill them when we can. Is diligent the right word? I don't know. And sometimes we fill them with random rocks like that. That one was a deep one. Sometimes we fill them in like this, and then they get depleted again. And sometimes we fill them in with the rocks from the flower garden. There's the queen. We're just taking Hank for a walk this morning before I head out and do some more errands and stuff. Well, I have one errand to do. Well, 2 errands to do, and then I'm gonna start working on commissions. So, yeah. See, like right here. That was all from the flower bed, or rock garden, whatever. And here's another one. It's been raining so much. That was like mud, these 2. But they're basically good, except for that little section right there. But we'll figure it out. Just when I thought I wasn't gonna find anything, this pops up. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's made out of metal. So at some point it will become art. It kind of looks like a mushroom, hey? I'm not sure what I'm gonna make out of this. It'll probably become become part of something else. Just a part maybe of a rooster or a bug or something. I have no idea actually, but I like going on these walks because I can find random stuff. I mean, this is just on the road, but still pretty cool. Oh, that was a decent walk. At least I got one thing. I got that box of scrap I still haven't gone through. We gotta see what it's all about. But I've decided, since it's taking forever for the rain to stop, for the weather to cooperate, if you've been watching the vlogs, you already know this, but I've decided that I'm going to just start working on the shop so I can make it usable. Get all new electric in here and stuff, because it is sketchy. Like, it even says, like, on the wall there, do not touch orange cord. And there's also, like, no cover to the panel. Not that that's super dangerous. I mean, it's kind of dangerous, but, like, there used to be a piece of paper that says turn off power before leaving. So I'm gonna listen to those warnings and not use the power in here. If the previous person didn't even keep the power on here, I'm not gonna do that either. So our plan is to take all of this stuff that I had piled in the middle so that I could work on the perimeter. The bottom plate is rotting. My plan now is to just fix that when Chakota has time and I have time to do this. Kind of busy for the next couple weeks, and do all that. Take off all the drywall, except for on the ceiling, probably keep that, and go from there. I would like to spray foam insulate this place, but that might not be an option because it's super expensive. I'm hoping that we can though, because I'd like to insulate this, the attic area where my skylight is, and the new chicken coop that I'm going to be making for Ashley's birthday, which is coming up in a couple weeks. So if I can do all of that, that would be great. It's just a matter of planning ahead, I guess. So I don't know, this was all to say, I don't know if I'm going to take that to the other shop to start working on stuff, or just continue using the random little bits I have left there to make the stuff that I want to make, because I might just be bringing it all here. I would like to bring it all here and start working in this shop and then build it out as I can. Initially I wanted to build it all out all good, but didn't work out. We'll see though. Alright, so Alex just called me just as soon as just before I finished the last clip there. Looks like we're gonna be going to go work at his place now, so we're gonna go see what's up with doing the back room. Pretty exciting, I think. I just gotta call Dakota to make sure he's down. I had some errands to run, so I gotta do those first. Well, we'll see. Come along. Errand number 1. Well, it's just getting tools, really. I need to get some more blades from our reciprocating saws, and it looks like they don't sell the Sawzall blades, like the Milwaukee ones, so yeah, that's annoying. They sell Skill, that one's $50, DeWalt, Bosch, Makita, but no Milwaukee. So we're gonna have to go to a different store. I'm at Rona, which is on the right side of the highway, which would have made me not have to detour out of the lot and stuff. It's a whole thing if you're from this town anyway. So I have to go across the street, which is across the highway, to go to the orange store and figure that out. Oh yeah, and Shakota's with us this time. I mean, he's always with us, I guess. I don't know why I said us, because me and him makes us. Alright, managed to get what we were looking for. And this guy, when we were walking into the store, he pulls in front of us so that we have to walk around him. So then we go to walk in front of his vehicle, but then he starts driving forward. And then I'm like, ah, what an ass. And he must have heard me, because then he stopped driving. So then we had to walk all the way around the back of him. And we could see that he was getting frustrated with us because we were talking about him. But we avoided all conflict, got our stuff, got some Taco Bell. Now we're heading off to the next errand. And errand number 2 was to go into Bailey's Books in St. Albert here to pick up something that I have on display. This is what I grabbed. There's a guy who wanted the wooden video camera, a reel-to-reel video camera. And I was gonna build him a new one, but I really don't have time right now, and he needs it within the week basically, so I decided to come get it. Usually when I have something on display, it's only for sale where I have it displayed, but in this case I made an exception because I don't have any time. Now for my last errand before we head over to Alex's. I have to do a quote because I forgot to take my ad offline, and some lady needs her basement or something like that drywalled and taped. Alright, now off to Alex's. They took a while at this lady's house, but she has some cool ideas. It's like parallel thought with a lot of things that she wants to do in her house. I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, I was thinking that too. So I hope I actually get that contract, even though I'm not looking for contracts right now. But that one is cool, so I'm really hoping to get it. Anyways, we're gonna head over to Alex's now. He's about probably a half-hour drive away from where we are right now, and we're stuck behind this dump truck, and it's raining, as always. He's getting his phone ready to do the welcome back thing for his channel. We're here.
I can't believe I just did that. Are we doing behind the scenes? Yeah. Is that what's going on? Okay. So, hello, Josh's channel, and hey guys, welcome back. So, today we're probably going to put just a little bit of time. As you can see, I've been working a little bit on getting some wiring up for the shelves, trying to recycle some old desk lamps up top there. It's coming along, and I promise not to put too much else up there, because you said you have to do something with the shelf store, right?
Yeah, just it'll be quick. 2 seconds.
Okay. So I was hoping you guys could help me out with the other room, because it's pretty gross, and at least today I thought maybe we could do some demo, get all the work done. You up for it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go check it out. Do you want your phone?
I guess I do want my phone. Let me grab that. Exit, stage left. So we're just basically demoing the inside walls, and then we're gonna demo this. Shakota already started, well, we started. Watch Alex's channel for all that. We put a hole in this room. We had to, no choice. There was too much rot, so we got rid of it. Everything else is good. A lot of the problem seems to be coming from this tree out here, but that's going to be remedied so it doesn't happen again. On the outside of this wall, there's no siding or anything. There's no house wrap or nothing, so it got treated badly over the 40, 50, 60, 70, how many years this was up. This construction in here is a little strange to me. Like, just, I don't know, it's built like so you can recognize everything, but some things are just like, why would you do that? So we're just fixing it up a little bit here and there where it needs to be, and this is definitely where it needs to be. So we're actually going to go to the orange store and go get some new material for it. We also made this open up, which is nice. That was all rotten too, so we had to, but we're going to be putting up the top plate and then putting in a bit of a header so that it just looks nice and it ties in nicely and it all looks good. But for now, we have to go get some material. We're back! Dakota's up there, getting rid of nails. I'm doing this. Getting rid of some of this nasty, whatever subfloor material this is. It's like a, I don't know, an MDF type chipboard style. Got to get rid of all this so we can see what of the original floorboards we need to repair before we put the wall back up. Alright, so we've decided that we're going to call it for the day. The only problem is I'm standing inside the building and I can see the tree behind me. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick 2 sheets, screw them to the wall, and then leave them for tomorrow. Rather than get into it today, because it's already past supper, it's close to 7 o'clock. Rather than get into it right now, because it could take several hours depending on what else is coming up and popping up, we could be here a long time. So rather than start now and be here a long time, we'll start tomorrow morning and be here until we're done. Tomorrow I have a couple things to do in the earlier morning, but I should be able to come here and spend a good deal of time making this ready to move on to the next step. Ta-da! I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's this tree. So we just did that temporary job for now. Tomorrow we'll get back to it. All right, good morning. So next day, just waiting for Dakota to arrive. I have to go to the dump, so I just packed up all my garbage in the dump. Oh, speak of the devil, there's Dakota right there. I'm gonna go to the dump, then we're gonna head back to the orange store or wherever to get, I forgot, yesterday we have to put a header in, so we need to get material for a header. So we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna head over to Alex's. Dakota's here.
Yeah.
Ready to kick some ass.
Ready to, with both feet, as you say.
Right. There's a lot of people here this morning. There's not usually this many people here on a Wednesday, but there is a lot this time. And the take it or leave it looks full. We'll see what's up there. In the big garbage place, I love parking near this portable scrap bin because you can usually get some good stuff. Scored some bed frame. Now we're gonna check out the take it or leave it. It is so full. There's so much stuff. I don't know where to begin. Probably take this tile saw. I already have a couple of these, but it doesn't hurt to have another one. Still has its tray too. Dakota got this cool ghetto blaster thing.
It doesn't have
We might be able to turn this into something else and put like something for like your phone to stick in there or something.
Sony, so you know it's good.
Trolley here. Probably take this. I would like to take that, but can't really do it. This guy's a fan, so that's cool. Just sees us at the dump. Alright, you guys already know I'm gonna take all of these golf bags. I'll be able to sell those easily. Secondhand between 15 and 30 bucks is a really good deal. So I'm gonna take all of these. This one has a full set of clubs. Probably sell this for like 75 bucks or something like that. We'll see. Oh, this one has a kickstand. Might be broken though. I'm already filling up. Dakota's still talking to this guy. Underneath the golf bags is this air compressor. I'm not sure if it works, but just in case it does, I'm gonna take it as well. This is a good haul today. And if it doesn't work, I'll just turn it into something or just bring it back the dump. Here's another good thing. I love old suitcases. This should work pretty nicely. Alright guys, so this is Ryan. He just recognized us from the Potter House series, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking, and he also has a cool YouTube channel that you guys should check out. What is it?
Parkland Films, all one word, Parkland Films.
Parkland Films. So he goes around, he just came back from Alaska and stuff. You should check him out. He's cool because he thinks we're cool. Yeah. Always use tools and stuff. Already got some in there. This is full of junk and stuff. I was just talking to another guy who does the same thing as me. He comes here, tries to save as much stuff from the landfill, which is pretty cool. That guy right there. And there's lots of good stuff in there today. There was actually more, but I'm pretty full. There was actually more that I could have grabbed, but I just want room for it all. And some of the stuff, it would just be stuff to sell rather than use, and I mostly collect stuff that I'm going to use. Everything that I have, I will eventually use one day. I don't take anything that I think that I can't use. Some of the stuff are maybes, but if I don't use it, I'll get rid of it. So I never collect anything just to collect it. I take it so that I'll actually use it and then turn it into a profit. Or I'll sell it. If I think I can sell it right away, I'll grab it, like the golf bags. But all that other stuff is usable stuff around my acreage or art supplies. So everything has an intention when I grab it. I don't always get to it right away, of course, and sometimes I save stuff for certain projects or more special projects. Anyways, now we're heading over to the orange store to grab stuff for the header and then to Alex's. We're going to be running a little late here if we don't hurry. The beauty about coming to the orange store rather than the blue store, like Rona, rather than Rona, Lowe's is the same as Home Depot, but is that they have all their wood in the store, so you don't have to buy it and then go into another yard to get it. All right, 2x10x8. Let's grab 2 of these. All right, made it back to Alex's. Oh, there's the drill. I went and put a new driver bit on here, and Dakota had the one I was looking for. I was wondering where the heck it was. Anyways, we're taking it out, making the hole back in the wall, and then we are going to fill it up with wall, and it'll be good for siding. So Dakota's up here in the rafters. We're just pairing this gable is a little salty, if you will. So we're just pairing it with like sandwiching on another board. Anyways, I look up there and I'm like, oh, what is that? And someone took a literal cork, like from a wine bottle or something, and corked a hole in the gable sheathing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So in this instance, we screwed it to hold it up here so that one of us could get onto the next task at hand, and then I could come around and do this. So you're supposed to nails have a way bigger, way stronger shear strength than screws. So you want to use nails rather than screws in most structural construction. This is not actually a structural piece necessarily. It sits on this wall. Not that it's not a structural piece. I mean, it is, but it's kind of hard to explain. But in most structural construction, you want to use nails because they have a higher shear strength. So anyways, I'm just going right beside these screws with nails, and it's all good. Screws are just there to hold it. Hope that makes sense. And really, this piece here is just a sandwich piece. It's just pairing with the other piece that's already there. That was a little bit rotten at the very end, so we had to scrape some of it away, and it just made the 2x4 down to like a 2x3. So putting that there just for peace of mind, really. You don't want anything failing in your roof. So just putting that up there as a precaution. It's a good idea to do that when you see any sort of rot or whatever. You cut it away, and if it gets too small, of course, you're going to want to replace it with something. In this case, you can't necessarily just replace it. You have to pair it or sandwich it up or whatever. This is a gable, so we can't sandwich it because the other side would go, the other sandwich would be on the other side on the wall, and it just, you can't do that. Okay, so here I was pulling out a nail and I just snapped off that whole piece. This is full of mold and stuff, so you want to, or like some, not mold necessarily, this is like a fungus of something, I guess a mold. You don't want to be messing around too much with that. But anyways, I snapped this off, which gives us no meat for the top and very top plate that are going to go here. We had cut that right in the center of it so that we could still use this stud, but now we're going to have to sandwich one up right next to it. Which you might do anyways, just so that it's got nice, strong structural bones. But in this case, you have no choice because I freaking broke that off. So if you ever run into a case where you don't want your top or very top plate to be floating anywhere, you want it always to be held up by something. And in this case, it'll be held up by two studs right here, rather than just one where it'd be like this. And you don't typically have your seams like this in new construction. When you're doing some sort of reno like this, it can't be helped all the time, especially if there's a truss sitting on top of it. So here we are kind of working not in what you would do in new construction, but it still will work. At least nowadays, you don't have your seams go. You would have this staggered. All right, so this section of floor is missing here, and it's 1 inch thick. Luckily, I took this out of the hands threw this out at the potter's house, and I saw it and was like, yo, I could use this. And looks like we're going to be using some of the Potter House in the new general store to fit this piece right here, which works out fantastic. At least I'm hoping it'll work out. First I got to cut it out and see if it'll actually fit. I'm pretty sure it will. We'll see. Stopping for lunch, and since McDonald's gave me such a tiny ass Big Mac, that must be how they do it. I haven't been to McDonald's in a little bit. Well, actually I haven't gotten a Big Mac in a long time, so we decided to go to Burger King because they still have regular sized hamburgers, which are pretty decent for a fast food, I would say. So the next thing we're gonna do is put in this window. So we have a window over there that just happens to be coming with the building. Now it's too big for this wall, and it's also too tall for this wall. So it's it's for a 2x6 wall, and it's also way too tall. It's actually gonna go all the way down to here, okay? So keep that in your mind right there, right? Going. So it's going to be the height of this window going all the way down to there. That's way too big. But Alex is convinced that he can make it look good if he does some other aesthetic rearranging, we'll call it. I know I could make it look good too. I don't know what he has planned exactly, but it's going to be like a reading area, I think. Could be wrong. I'm not sure. But we're going to do our best. We're going to frame it in. It's very easy to frame this in, so whatever. I'm skeptical on if it's going to look good. I hope it looks good, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, done for the day. We just put that in there temporarily. We have to put some Tyvek that'll protrude out the sides and bottom and top as well. And a mosquito went right in my ear. We have to do that because it's got to tie in with the rest of the house wrap that's going to be going on. We're going to take all the rest of this OSB off, and we're probably going to keep the tar paper, and then it's going to be sided over that. So all the house wrap that goes on there, it's all going to tie. It's a whole whatever. The siding people will do that part, but we're going to do what you would typically do on a framing crew, is you just do around the windows, doors, and stuff like that. So far it's looking good. We'll see what tomorrow brings for progress. Alright, back again. See what we can get done today. We had to lock all the tools and stuff into the main building here. The back building doesn't have a door, and also has no power and stuff, so we have our stuff plugged in here. You might notice that I have pink extension cords, and that reason is no one steals pink extension cords. Or if they do, it's very obvious when you see someone on your work site with a pink extension cord and you go like, yo, that's mine. When I used to work on bigger sites and stuff, theft with tools was a kind of an issue. So yeah, now with pink, it's harder to steal because no one buys pink extension cords. It's usually yellow or orange. Yeah, I have pink ones. I have a whole bunch of different, assorted ones, but the pink ones are the ones that I usually bring on site. These are my longest ones, so that's why I brought them here. I don't think anyone here is going to steal them. Another trick you can do is you can put electrical tape around your extension cord so it looks like they were broken, so they were cut or whatever, or had to be respliced or something. If you put black electrical tape around your extension cord, it looks like it's broken and it's much less likely to be stolen, which is good because you don't want your stuff stolen. If it's broken, it's probably not going to get stolen. So, okay, so the first thing we were going to do is put in this window. You can see that we put all the Tyvek on, but we forgot to get the tape. So I'm not sure if it's all over the place, but when we were still framing, a new thing started happening where some of the houses, depending on the builder, we had to start taping our Tyvek. So you still overlap everything the same, but now you tape everything, and that's just a better moisture barrier. So I'm gonna go get that, and while I'm doing that, Chakota is gonna take down this center wall, because the center wall is in the way for greatness. Okay, so they don't actually have the Tyvek branded sheathing tape. They just have this flex wrap stuff, and I would get the flex wrap except for it's $200, and that is not exactly needed for what we're doing. I'm doing it the method that I would use if I was framing the house and a builder would give me the parameters to use this house wrap, put it around the joints, and then I guess it depends on the builder or whatever they'd want me to tape it or not. We're gonna tape it just because we want to be have the best quality. Since I don't have the tape here, I'm actually going to get this, which is a tuck tape. The blue stuff is it doesn't break down like the red stuff apparently does. I didn't actually know that the red stuff broke down until the blue stuff came out, which is why they made it. So this is now code rather than the red. I'm not sure why they still sell the red, but the blue stuff is essentially works the exact same. It just doesn't break down. So we're going to use this instead of the Tyvek branded tape, which is fine. Tyvek's not a sponsor, by the way. Okay, I'm back. And check it out. The wall is gone. Ugh. Chakota did it all except for the doorway. He wanted to keep it there just so you could still get onto the other side of the building here. So he left the doorway there, which is pretty good. Okay, now I'm just going to show you something real quick. This is how we Tyvek. This is how we learned, so this is how we do it. You put on your bottom first. Usually you would put this on the wall before you stand it up. In this case, you can't do that because it's already stood up. So you put the bottom on first, and then you put your side on, and before you staple it to the side here, you put on these little L-shaped pieces. This one's put on a little crinkly, but it doesn't matter, it'll still work. And you kind of do that here. So you want everything to overlap, so if any drips come, it won't get in underneath anything. Same with at the top. So you put your side on, you staple it on. Well, you put your L on first, then you staple on this side, and then you put the top on both sides. I should have explain that while I was doing it, but I just didn't think about it. Now we're going to tape every joint, and that'll be better. Now, it may be common practice to do that now, which I'm assuming because when I had stopped framing on a crew, they just started doing it with some houses. So that's what we're going to do. This tape that we're using, this Blue Tuck tape, is essentially the same tape as the Tyvek tape. I just wanted to get the Tyvek tape just in case it was better or whatever, because it's designed to be used with the Tyvek. House wrap doesn't really matter. We're going to use this. It is essentially the exact same thing, and should work perfect.
I don't think we'll do that vent up there too.
Okay, and once you have everything taped up, looks good, you want to put these little blocks on. You don't necessarily have to screw them, but we did just so that they don't move around. I always make my Tyvek actually wrap around the bottom of the sill. It's not necessary, you can just do this as well. The reason why you put these little spacer blocks on is so that your window sits on top of it, and then you have this space underneath where you can insulate, and that way you have way less of a drafty cold air infiltration problem. So once the window is on top of there, we're going to spray foam underneath it. After you have that, you want to put in your sealant, your caulking, so that you are going to be like smushing it all tight to have a good seal, and then you just place your window in.
And now you have to what?
I should also say that when you're putting in your window, you want to make sure it's as level as you can get it. So when you do that, you couldn't see, but I was inside with this tool here, putting it underneath and then adjusting it so that I had it level. So I had my level on the side and then on top to make sure that it was nice and square. It's a little difficult to do that if it's just two of you, because it's kind of hard to hold it in that position and then the other person's screwing or nailing, but it's definitely doable. I shouldn't say it's difficult, it's just it's easier with 3 people. So even though we have a good you can see all the squeeze out, we have a good seal. What we do on our windows, instead of putting in our cotton candy insulation, we will spray foam it with Great Stuff, not a sponsor, because that is a vapor barrier styled insulation. So it's like every line of defense that you can get is good. It's a little overkill, but better to be safe than sorry. Alright, so you take your Great Stuff, you put it in all the holes, and since I'm going to waste most of this can, I'm also going to put it in holes like that, and over here in the side door, I guess you would call it, the back door of the store, we have little peekaboos in here that I will fill as well, because I don't want to waste this whole can, and I don't think I'm going to use the whole bit in the windows. Now, you don't want to put too much. This is expanding foam. It expands. So you want to shake it, and it's expanding foam, so you want to go in somewhat fast. You don't want to put too much in there, because if you do that, it'll bow your window because it's expanding foam. So what you put in there at first is kind of like, it looks small, but it gets really big over time. So you want to just put, I always go with 2 passes, one just really quick, and then another one to kind of fill any voids, and then you let that expand to where it's going to go. It's going to go take the path of least resistance, but if there's nowhere else to go, it's just going to bulge your window, and then you're not going to be able to open it. And that'll be a pain in the ass, because then you have to cut it all out and try to figure that out, and then you have leaks and stuff. But we're probably pretty good here, so I'll fill up some of these other holes. Here's an example. I just sprayed it on, and when we come back to it, you'll see how big it gets. filled in all those gaps as well, and that'll be just a better insulation, because all of this porch, if we're keeping it, it's going to get insulated as well. The windows definitely do not help for draftiness because they're only single pane, but we do what we can, of course. Now about 5 minutes later, look how much bigger it is. It's still not cured, so it might even get a little bit bigger than that. Over here, it's a little harder to see, but it's also bigger. So in our window, which is hard to see, let's see if I can get that. It's expanded quite a bit. So once again, I put 2 things in there. I go fast the first time, and it fills up everything, gets big, gets big, gets big. And then oftentimes, since you're going fast, it creates a little bit of a gappage and stuff. Then I go again while it's still wet, and then it kind of fuses together and gets big. The reason why I do 2 instead of just 1 slow one is because when you go slow, you don't exactly know what kind of expansion you're going to get, and then it might just be too much. So by the time you're done doing 1 quick one, it expanded a little bit, and then you can see where it needs it, and then you come further back with the straw and go again. I don't know how to explain it better than that. It just seems to work for me. You may want to just do 1 pass slowly. Someone who does this stuff all the time probably has a better method. That's just the method that I use. And I'm kind of explaining it sloppily. It's kind of like when you're doing it, you know what you're doing. But when you're explaining it, it kind of sounds stupid, to be honest. But that's how I do it. So it should be good now. I'm going to let that expand. If I think it needs more, I'll put in more, because maybe I kind of want to fill up that whole gap to this side of the window. So we have our window pane here, then we have the side of the window casing here. This sticks out a little bit further than the door. We want the foam to stick out towards us past the window, if that makes sense, to at least here. And we will see how much more that expands. I'm probably beating a dead horse here trying to explain this 12 different ways, but I just want to get the explanation across so that it makes sense. Okay, it's set up, and I see that there's not enough, so now I'm gonna fill the rest of it with this before this gets all useless. Look how big that is back there. It got pretty big. This in here didn't get big enough, and that's because I was being, oh, I should clean the end off. It didn't get quite enough in here, so we're going to remedy that right now. Gotta shake it. Oh yeah, I should say you should shake these cans before you actually use it. Like I just wasn't going to, and then you just stick it in there. Again, you don't want to put too much. I mean, you'll feel like you have to fill up the whole void, but if you do that, that's way too much. The stuff, again, it expands. So you just put a little decent amount in there. Some spaces I can see here that I did actually put enough, so. Basically, use your discretion when you're using a product like this. Okay, about that. Once that's cured, it should get a little bit bigger, and then that'll take us to our here area. It's actually already to about here, so it should come out to about here. Should be good. So now that that's done, we are going for lunch. And here, check out how big that got. So you can kind of get an idea of it starts off small, and then it just gets really big. So, yeah, lunchtime. All right, coming back from lunch, had some Albert and Walters there. This is where we're at with the foam. See where it is? It's like right at the end. It's like right here. So that's exactly what we want. Perfect. Now on to the next thing. We're gonna frame in that door now. So we made it so that this door can be widened in the future if we get rid of the porch. So we're still gonna put some studs in there, but the header is huge to allow for a bigger door in the future if we want one. When I say we, I mean Alex. just figuring out where we're gonna put the door. It's a 37-inch door, so if we go right against the ground or the cripple, we're gonna put one more stud in there because it's a 2x6 door, so we actually have to compensate a little bit. So it'll be like that to here-ish, and then our rough opening has to be a little bit wider, of course. Okay, we got the door roughed in. We're not actually going to put in the door today, the actual door, because we are still going to demo all this nasty floor at some point, probably tomorrow. And it would be nice to have something that you can go through without worrying about damaging it, because the door actually has a light in it, so you don't want, or like a window, has a window in it, so you don't want to break that, scratch it, do whatever, you know what I mean? So we're just keeping it open. We had to do some slight modifications to this area to make the door actually fit, because it was a little bit too big, too tall. So it will fit now, so that's good. We should see that door in there probably at the end of the day tomorrow, if we don't change our plans once again.